Hey guys, welcome to Shareably Delicious. Today we're going to walk you through the process of making a real brown gravy using meat. Now here in South Louisiana, we usually serve it over rice, but mashed potatoes or other sides will work too. We use the same process for pork or beef, and your best choices are muscles that the animal uses, like neck, chuck, or beef shank. We used almost 3 pounds of beef shank, 2 tablespoons of darkening sauce, 3 tablespoons of roux, 3 teaspoons of garlic, enough vegetable oil to cover the bottom of your pot, and green onions for extra flavor. Now for gravies, we make our own blend of seasonings, and here are the ratios. 3 parts salt, 2 parts onion powder, 2 parts paprika, smoked if you can, 1 part cayenne pepper, and half a part of black pepper. We always use a cast iron pot for making gravies, but if you don't have one, be sure to use a thick bottom pot. So first you're going to get the pot warm, then add enough vegetable oil to just cover the bottom of the pot. Let the oil get hot and add your onions. Be sure they're sizzling. Then cover them in a layer of the seasoning mixture you made and stir. Now it's time to brown the onions. This process means adding a little bit of water, scraping the bottom of your pot with a non-metal spatula as always. And once that water evaporates, add a little more water, stir, and repeat until your onions are soft and brown. For the 2 onions we used here, this is probably going to take at least 30 minutes, but the flavor is worth it. While the onions are browning, you'll need to cut and season the meat. First, cut out the bones, but keep them to use in the gravy. Then cut the meat into uniform chunks and season them. We always make sure we can see some seasoning on every piece of meat, but we like our meals on the spicier side. So remember, if you aren't sure, it's a good idea to go light on the seasoning now, and you can add more later if you need. Now push the brown onions to one side and add the meat. Be sure to add the bones too, because they definitely add flavor. Now you're going to brown the meat just like we brown the onions. First, mix up the meat and onions and let it simmer a bit. You'll add a little water, scrape the bottom of the pot, stir, and then once that water evaporates, add a little more. Repeat this process until all the meat is brown. Now add the garlic, stir it a bit, and let it sweat a minute. It's time to add the water that'll make the gravy. Pour in enough water to cover the meat, and be sure to scrape everything from the bottom of the pot one more time. Get the water boiling and add the roux. Start stirring to help the roux dissolve, then add the darkening sauce. You'll also add some seasoning at this point. Stir continuously until you're sure all the roux is dissolved. Now turn the heat down to simmer and leave it for about 30 minutes. Then add more water and let it simmer again. The reason you want to add more water is to keep the meat covered so that it'll cook. After it simmers for a while, taste for seasoning and add more if you need. The whole thing should cook for at least an hour, but know that after you add the last batch of water, you'll need to cook it for at least 20 more minutes to mellow the flavor out. Once the taste is right for you, sprinkle in some green onions and serve over rice.